What up, y'all? So I'm gonna go over the powers in the astral projection, the different powers you could do and how to do them. So the first power, like I said before, is flight, where you're gonna try to go up in the air and fly, okay? The way that I first developed this power was by standing like this and putting my hands out and having my basically my fingers of my hand pointing towards whatever I wanted to fly up to. So say it was a cloud in the sky that I wanted to fly up to. I wanted to fly up there. I would have to point my fingers at wherever I wanted to fly, and I would imagine my fingertips getting pulled towards whatever I wanted to fly towards. That's how I first developed the ability to fly. Now, when I first started to fly, I would get up probably like 10 feet in the air, and then I would just fall back down and hit the ground. And sometimes I would scrape certain parts of my body, like my knee or my leg or my elbow or something like that. And you could feel the pain when you scrape, like say you scrape your elbow on the ground, you could feel the pain of the skin scraping off a little bit. Sometimes you can't feel it. Sometimes you can feel it almost as close as real life. But usually shortly after you fall from trying to fly, you wake up. So that's one power you could do. Another power you could do is levitating objects. So basically how I levitate an object is you can stick out two hands or you can stick out one hand, and say you got a basketball on the ground. Okay, and you're trying to pick up the basketball. So what you do is you look at it, you put your hand towards it, like this, like sticking your hand out, like you're gonna facing the object, and then you imagine it levitating up in the air. Now, in about maybe, sometimes it could be as quick as 3 seconds. Sometimes it takes I've had it take up to 15 seconds long. After you begin to focus on levitating the object, that's how long it could take sometimes before it finally starts to lift up off the ground. It could take that much time. You can levitate it all around wherever you want. You can launch it through the air. Okay, so that's levitation, that's flight. Now, another power that you could do is teleportation. Now, I ain't talking about the teleportation when I say that I teleport from my bed. When I first astral project, this is totally different. This is when you're fully immersed. So say we're here in an astral projection. All right, this is where we're starting at. So say you want to teleport to right here behind this house. Now, on the side of the house. So what you got to do is you see the location that you want to teleport to, and you just imagine that you're just moving there really fast. Okay, so what ends up happening is you get this vision of all this stuff passing through by all of you get a vision of passing by everything between you and the location you're trying to get to, and it's just a little blurred peripheral vision of it, and then you end up at the location that you're trying to teleport to. It's almost like it's almost like local teleportation. Okay, so this is local teleportation. You're only teleporting to an area that you can see. All right. Now, there's a different kind of teleportation, and that's global teleportation, I'll call it. And that's when you're chilling over here, but you're trying to teleport over here to the city. Okay, and the city don't got nothing to do with the area that you're in right here. Okay, so you got the buildings with the windows, all that, whatever, the city. Okay, so in order for you to teleport from this location to a completely different location, you have to imagine this location while you're here. Okay. Now, what you do is when you're standing in the astral projection, you're standing right here, you'll close your eyes and you'll imagine the place you want to teleport to. Okay. And what will start to happen is you'll have your vision is dark. There ain't nothing there. You close your eyes. But what will happen is this will start to slowly manifest in the vision, and then you'll be there. That's something that is possible to do. I've done it multiple times. Okay. So another power that you could do. Now we're going to get into a little bit more advanced powers. All right. Manifesting objects. So say you're standing here, you know, wherever you are in the astral projection, and you want, let's say, you want a sword, okay? So you want a sword. So what you do is you have to not look at your hands. You don't look at them. You can look to the left, to the right. You can close your eyes, and you have to imagine that there's a sword in your hands without looking at your hands. Okay, there's something about observing the area that you're trying to manifest an object into that makes it almost impossible to do it. You have to do it without observing the area. So then you keep thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. And then eventually you will be able to manifest a sword into your hands. Okay, or whatever you want, literally anything you want. There's also a pocket trick. Or say you're trying to manifest a smaller object. I don't know why I'd be drawing their neck so damn big. You say you got a pocket, right, in your pants. Got your pants on, whatever. And that's ridiculous. Whatever, those are pants. All right, you got your pants. Okay. And then you got a pocket in your pants. So what you do is you reach into the pocket of the pants and you can pull out an object out the pants, whatever. You pull it up. It could be a cell phone. Okay. So that's one way you could do it. So basically the whole idea is that you can't be observing the area that you're trying to manifest the object into. Okay. That's manifesting objects. Another power that you could do is incineration. So say you're standing there in the road, all right, astral projection. Say you see a tree, okay? You look at the tree and I usually stick a hand out facing the direction of where I want the thing. It just assists my imagination in doing the power. You imagine the tree is lighting on fire, and then eventually it will start to light on fire. Okay, now fire ain't gonna necessarily spread like a normal fire, but you will have a fire starting, and it does look very realistic, like a real fire. Okay. Another power that you could do is say you're in an astral projection. All right. You're in the street, on the road, okay, and it's nighttime. Everything is dark. Say you're in your neighborhood, whatever, house is on the street, and it's dark. Now, being in the dark in an astral projection is a problem because when it's dark, demons can come because subconsciously, you know, everybody's scared of the dark to a certain extent. Even when you're a grown up, and even if you're not scared of it in real life, when you're in an astral projection where anything that you imagine can become real, that fear is different because you know if you start slipping up and you start imagining that it's a demon over here, okay, a demon will appear. So, you know, the demons can look like anything, okay, anything. All right, so it ain't just what you imagine. It's a lot of subconscious processing that also happens that makes the demon. So you don't necessarily have to be imagining what the demon's gonna look like. It will form a random demon, basically. And it's usually gonna be something that will scare the hell out of you, like is your deepest fears type shit. It ain't gonna look like a human. Well, sometimes it can be like a human, but if you're scared of a certain person in real life, it ain't gonna be that person. Okay, it's gonna be something that's genuinely terrifying on a whole nother level, like some sort of zombie demon manipulated 4-armed thing that's chasing you with a mouth that's huge and it's got like saw teeth in its mouth and it's running after you. Like those are the kind of things that can happen. So you want to bring light into the projection, okay? And sometimes it's so dark that you can't even see nothing. It's that dark. So what you do is, how I do it, or how I've done it is I'll look up at the sky And I'll imagine that the sun is starting to peer through the sky. Okay, this takes about, probably after you start focusing on it, it's the general timeline, 10 to 15 seconds for it to start occurring after you start strongly imagining it. Okay, and then you could bring light into the projection. Another thing that can happen when you're doing this power is you can actually open up sectioned off areas where there is a whole different thing going on in the background. Okay, so I've had it happen before where I was standing, right? And I'm standing in the street. I'm looking around. It's dark as hell. I fly up in the air. I'm up in the air. Okay. I'm looking down at houses and stuff like that. And then I'm imagining light being pulled into the area by looking up over here at the sky. So I imagine the light coming, and then I'm looking down towards here for a second, and then some gaping opening starts to open up over here, and there's light coming from the gaping opening, and it's the sky. And I keep looking down, and then there was this little area where there was little houses and stuff down here, way down. I'm talking like 500 feet down. There was a little development of little places over here, and I flew down into this hole. It was like the whole section of the street was just gone. Like when you glitch out of a Call of Duty map and you go to the end, you hit them certain areas where the map is just not there. So that's what it was like. It's just a gaping hole, and down there was more mapping down there. All right, so that's bringing more light into it, and sometimes it can open up these. I wouldn't call it necessarily like a wormhole. Now the size of this gaping area was about, I don't know, probably like 200 feet in circumference was the gaping area that opened up in the floor. But I could barely see the ground anyways because it was so dark. So it just kind of opened up through the darkness. Another power you could do, I do this almost every single time I astral project. Another power you could do is walk through walls and go through objects. Okay. So you're standing on the side of a house. You want to go through the house. All right, you could just walk into the wall and just, wall thinking that I'm gonna go through the wall and I'm gonna be in the structure that I'm on the wall that I'm walking through. And then you will go through the wall and end up inside the structure. Okay, I do this all the time. If I'm like flying through a city or something like that. Okay, and I want to go into a building. You don't got all the time in the world in these things. You got to remember that. You ain't trying to go down here and go into the damn through the front door. That takes too long. You're 300 feet in the air. You know what I'm saying? So and the time it's going to take you to get down here and go in the building and then go to wherever, it's just going to take too long. So you just go straight through the wall. Fly straight through the wall, and then you end up, you end up standing, and then you're inside a building, and there could be anything in there. There could be people just, sitting in chairs or whatever they're doing. You feel me? So you could get into some weird situations when you go through walls, because if you're flying into a structure where you don't have any idea what's behind the wall, or you ain't thinking of what's behind the wall, or you're just kind of, let me see what's behind this wall, or let me see what's in this building. You could fly into any situation. I mean, now when I say any situation, y'all got to remember that this ain't real life. Okay, this is imagination land. So when I say any situation, I mean anything you could imagine, but you're not necessarily, chances are you're not going to fly into something really crazy. You're just going to fly into a place that is very similar to real life. You might fly into a little building. There might be people eating food, and then some people at a desk with a computer. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically mostly it. Okay, so that's going through walls. Now, there's a lot more powers that you could do, but I'm not gonna sit here and talk about all of them in one video because it'll take too long. I'm gonna make more videos on powers.